This is my TBR for July. I am being overly ambitious as usual because July is going to be a busy month for me. I am having my wedding party at the beginning of the month, so the first 5 days of the month are probably going to be bookless, readingless. I'm not going to have much time to do anything. After that, I am going on my honeymoon. My second honeymoon. In case you don't know, I got married a couple of years ago, and then that was just a small legal ceremony, and then we also wanted a big wedding party for everyone to come and join us and celebrate. So it's taken a couple of years to save up because wedding parties are really expensive. As soon as anyone knows it's a wedding, a party for a wedding, they all up the prices. So that's why we're having a wedding ceremony, even though I already refer to this guy as my husband because we were already married. Anyway, so that has taken a lot of planning. Where I was going with this was the second week of July is going to be my honeymoon, and I should have quite a bit of reading time on that because I don't think we're going to be doing loads. We're going up to the Lake District, which will be really lovely, but we won't be doing massive long hikes or any mountain climbing this time because my husband has broken his leg. Even though we think he'll be able to walk on it by then, we're not going to be climbing Scarfell Pike. That's just ridiculous. All of that to say, I am not really sure how July is going to go. I think I am going to have a bit of a mixed bag in terms of free time, reading, all of that, and so I feel like I'm being really ambitious, but maybe I will be absolutely okay with all of this. Let me stop rambling and show you the books. These are the books that I am planning on reading outside of my honeymoon. I actually am taking up a whole different stack of books to the Lake District just because. Maybe I'll take some of these as well, but who knows. So first of all, what can I show you? The first one that I want to read in July is Diabound. I bought this self-published edition because I thought there was a sign. So basically I was walking the dog and I was listening to YouTube videos as I was walking, and someone was talking about Diabound and how it's really hyped up on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, so I have no idea what's getting hyped up and when. So someone mentioned that it was really hyped and it was actually really good. So I was like, cool, okay, interesting. And then I kid you not, I opened my phone to switch videos. I think I must have also gone on to like Blue Sky or Instagram or something, and I saw the news that this had just been picked up by a traditional publisher. So I nabbed the self-published copy because I was like, these are going to be really rare soon, and I wanted to support the author directly. I always prefer to do that, of course, if I can. So I picked this one up. It took ages to arrive, but I got it. That's good. So what I can tell from this one is being compared to Fourth Wing because there's some sort of like creature bonding in here. I believe the main characters, or the humans, bond with dire wolves. The main character in this one, her name is Merrin, and her sister gets kidnapped. And so in order to get her sister back, she starts training at this academy, I think, or in this army. And so she doesn't actually realise at the time that she is basically signing up to bond with this dire wolf. And the two of them bond, obviously, and they don't get on to start with, and I think it's going to be like a really snarky relationship as the two get to know each other. I don't think, I hope it's not like a romantic thing. It does mention a handsome crown prince called Killian, so I think we're safe. I just really enjoy that kind of dynamic. I really liked it in Fourth Wing. I liked a similar dynamic in One Dark Window with Elspeth and the Nightmare. I like that one a lot. I'm looking forward to reading this one, hopefully in July. I want to get in on the hype, so I want to prioritise this. Another fantasy book that I would really like to read, another self-published one that I picked up, is Children of Fallen Gods. So I'm currently reading, as I'm recording this, Daughter of No Wilds, and I'm very much enjoying it. So I'm thinking, unless it ends like absolutely terribly, I'm going to love this series. So I'm going to read the second book in July and just keep the ball rolling. This is obviously the second book in the series. As far as I can tell from the first book, however far through I am right now, the main character has escaped slavery, enslavement, and has joined a sort of magician's magic guild. She has to go back and defeat the oppressors. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very far through right now, but I am enjoying it. So I'm not entirely sure what the actual plot is, but I, again, bought the hardback of this one and the third book as well because I knew that these books were going to become super rare because they've now been picked up by a publisher. And one, I wanted to support the author directly, and also I just wanted the hardbacks. I figured if I don't enjoy the series, I can just sell them and I'll probably make my money back, so that's good. So yeah, I'm hoping to read the sequel if I do end up loving the first book. I've also chosen Temera by Naomi Novik. This is the first book of I think like 9 or 12 or something in this series, and it's historical fantasy with dragons, basically the Napoleonic Wars with dragons. It says here that it follows a captain called Will Lawrence who has been at sea since he was just 12 years old, earning himself a beautiful fiancée, society's esteem and a golden future. But the war is not going well. It seems Britain can only wait as Napoleon plans to invade. After a skirmish with a French ship, Lawrence finds himself in charge of a rare cargo, a dragon egg bound for the Emperor himself. And it says here that the dragon hatches and imprints on Lawrence. or Will Lawrence, and so I'm guessing he has to train this dragon, and it's going to be like a whole bonding thing, which I've already said that I really like, and it's a really long series as well, so if I enjoy this one I'm looking forward to kind of sinking my teeth into a really long series, because I really love that. I love following characters over like decades, huge spans of time, and seeing where they end up, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. I haven't liked books by this author before. I didn't really love Uprooted, and to be fair that's the only one I've read, so hopefully I like this one. A book that I've already started and I will be carrying on with in July, because I'm not going to finish it in June, is Empire of Silence. So I'm currently about halfway through. I'm reading 50 to 100 pages of this one a day. I'm probably going to speed up towards the end, to be fair, but with this one I found that the beginning was very dense. It threw a lot of terminology and world building at me, and all sorts of different characters who sometimes had like various different names, so I found it a bit slow in the beginning, but I'm enjoying it now. I was enjoying it in the beginning, but I just had to concentrate, and I'm struggling to concentrate on books right now. So this one follows a guy called Hadrian, who we know is known as the Sun Eater in the future, and I think this book series is going to follow his entire life and show us what led to these catastrophic event. This first one, it follows him as he is living with his father on his father's kind of like estate, and his father is very unimpressed with him. Hadrian isn't really the kind of heir that he wanted, and so his father actually favours his younger brother. Up to this point, Hadrian kind of assumed that he would be the heir because he's the firstborn son, and then he quickly comes to realise that that's not the case, and his brother is seen as a better heir to this whole estate, fortune, empire than he is. At the beginning of the book, the kind of war with the alien creatures is sort of happening in the background, like little skirmishes are happening, and you can see that it's going to build up to something bigger. But this first one is very much about Hadrian, and it's not really action-packed or anything, but we do know, obviously from the blurb and from what Hadrian says in the beginning, he's about to wipe out, or not about to, he will wipe out all of these aliens in the future, and he's seen as a hero for it. But I think this whole series is going to be showing like he's not necessarily a hero, he just did what kind of had to be done, and he basically committed genocide. So yeah, anyway, all that to say, I will be carrying on with this book in July and finishing it off, and maybe starting the next book, I don't know, it depends when I finish this one. Another sci-fi book that I would really like to read is The Mercy of Gods by James S. A. Corey. This is the first book in their new series. So I wasn't originally going to read this one in July because I feel like the concept is quite similar to Empire of Silence, and I don't like to read books that are too similar unless they're in a series, just because I don't get confused, but I just get a bit overwhelmed with all of the information and my brain like gets full. But I do want to give this one a go, and I want to recap it before the sequel comes out. I don't actually know when that is going to be, so this is like a maybe on my TBR. It depends how well Empire of Silence goes. I've actually got no idea what it's about, so it says here that it's a new space opera series. The Carrix, which is part Empire, part Hive, has waged wars of conquest for centuries, destroying or enslaving species across the galaxy in its conflict with an ancient and deathless enemy. So it's like sci-fi war stuff, as I said, like Empire of Silence. It says that the Carrix descend on the isolated world of Anjin. The human population is abased, slaughtered and put in chains, and the best and brightest are abducted. And then a scientist and his team are captured, and then I guess he has to take down the aliens and the enemy. I don't know. So this is maybe, but I am really interested to read it. I haven't actually read The Expanse, so it feels a bit weird to me to be reading this new book in a completely unrelated series, because I don't typically like reading series or books out of publication order. I feel like I need to recap it in time while the series is still ongoing. I've also picked out a romance book because I just feel like I need something a bit lighter. In this TBR there's a lot of like war happening in those first few books. So I picked out Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series, I think it's called. I really enjoyed the first book, was really impressed by the writing and the depiction of certain scenes, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. I've got all of the books in this series now, I think, so I might make my way through it if I'm in the mood for it, or I might just stick to book 2 in July. I've also picked out James by Percival Everett. So this one has been doing the rounds, everyone is really hyped about it, it's been winning awards and things. This is a retelling of Huckleberry Finn, but I think it's told from the perspective of James, or at least it follows James more than the original. I've not read Huckleberry Finn, so I've got no idea what the original is even about. But it says here that it's set in 1861 in or near the Mississippi River. The enslaved Jim overhears that he's about to be sold to a new owner in New Orleans and separated from his wife and daughter forever. He flees to nearby Jackson Island until he can formulate a plan. Meanwhile, Huck Finn has faked his own death to escape his violent father, who recently returned to town. And so begins a dangerous and transcendent journey along the river towards the elusive promise of the Free States and beyond. So yeah, it's following both of them as they travel up the river to get away from the south. And yeah, I don't know anything about the original, so I don't know how it's going to compare. I don't know what's going to have changed, but we will see. I'm really interested to read this one because it's been getting so much praise. I really think that I will enjoy it. And then I picked out a couple of non-fiction books. I've actually got quite a few. So on my Libro FM account, I've got a book called A Murder in Hollywood. It's that top one there, you can't really see, that I have 4 hours left of. And I've been quite enjoying that, but I feel like I've taken such a long break that I need to go back and re-listen to the first, I guess, like 4 hours of it. I've also got a book called The Secret History of the Rape Kit, which is there, and that's another one that I am interested to read, and I might listen to that while we're driving and my husband can just put up with it. It's a 5-hour drive up to the Lake District, and again 5 hours back down, ideally in good traffic, so I could listen to this whole thing, and that's something that I'm just interested to find out more about. And then I've picked out 2 non-fiction books from my shelf. First one being All You Can Ever Know, and this is a memoir of Nicole Chung, who was adopted from Korea by white American parents, and I believe she was the only Korean in her area, or at least the only Korean person that she knew. And I believe it's about Nicole as she was growing up and she was bullied for being different to everyone, and then also it follows her trying to find her biological family and the story of why her biological parents gave her up for adoption. So yeah, I'm interested in reading this one. It's not very well known, I don't think. I can't remember where I originally came across it. It must have been on YouTube. Celeste Ng has blurbed it and said it's required reading for anyone who has ever had, wanted or found a family. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. And then the final book I've got on this potential ambitious TBR is The Indifferent Stars Above. And this is the story of the Donner Party, who were travelling along the Oregon Trail in the mid-1800s, and things go horribly wrong for them. I've listened to a couple of podcasts on this subject, so I kind of know the main beats of what happened, but I'm interested to read a book about it and learn a bit more detail about what was going on, about the history of these families and why they were moving from east to west. I forgot my directions then. East to west in the United States, like what drove them to do that and what drove them to act the way that they did on the trail, because they really were quite desperate and it got them into quite a bit of trouble. So I'm looking forward to reading this one, I think. And that's it for my massive TBR. As I said, I'm taking a whole other pile of books, which is about this high as a stack. On my honeymoon with me, I might take some of these depending on how they're going. And yeah, July's gonna be a really good month for reading, I think, if a little bit sporadic and scattered. At least from the second week, I think I will be having a great time with my reading, and I cannot wait to get through these books. Not even get through and experience these books. I'm excited to experience the stories. Anyway, I'm really rambling now. Tell me what you're reading in July in the comments below. Tell me what you thought of any of these, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye.